Hi everyone. Happy Monday. Woo! We are going to start our week off reading a whole new text called The Other Side, and it's really, really good. So, I'm going to start us off, and we are going to talk about two different feelings. We are going to think about two tough feelings that our characters might experience as part of an internal conflict. And the first question I'm going to say is, what is jealousy? Jealousy is that feeling when we envy someone and that we want something that someone else has, right? And so we might look at other things that someone has, like, oh, I just am so jealous of the car that they have, or I'm so jealous that they got the newest Xbox game. I'm so jealous that they have new shoes all the time. So something, we're like envious. We want what somebody else has, okay? Fear. Fear is the other feeling we're going to focus on. So we're focusing on jealousy, we're focusing on fear. Fear is when you are afraid of someone or something. You might be afraid of someone. You might have seen someone that looks really scary or maybe was really mean, and you might be afraid of them. You might be afraid of spiders. You might be afraid of bridges. My dog, Buttons, is afraid of walking on this one bridge near my house, and every time we get to it, he stops and he won't walk forward because he's afraid of this wooden bridge that makes sounds when we walk on it. Okay? So we've talked about jealousy, we've talked about fear. These are really tough feelings that a character might experience, and that might be part of their internal conflict. Okay? I'm going to do a quick review. So we know an external conflict is a problem between two characters or two groups of characters. An internal conflict is a problem in a character's mind. It's a problem in a character's mind. It's a dilemma, so it's a difficult choice or a tough feeling. So this is how we identify conflict, right? So to determine the external conflict in a text, we ask about each character. What is the most important thing? What is most important to this character? What does this character want the most? Go back to that character motivation. What is the character's motivation in the text? When a character can't get what he or she wants, a conflict is created. So we have that motivation plus obstacle, something in the way, and it creates conflict, right? So that obstacle could be another character or an event in the story. Now, to determine the internal conflict, we think about the difficult choices or tough feelings that each character struggles with. There are many tough feelings. We talked about this before. Some feelings can be guilt or jealousy or sadness or fear and sometimes loneliness. We keep in mind the events and situations as well as other characters, so the secondary characters in the story, that can make the conflict better or they can make the conflict worse. Okay, we are going to read this story that's called The Other Side. And it's a really interesting story because you have two really important characters, and that's going to be Annie and that's going to be Clover and Mom. And Annie and Clover are really important. And another important character who has a lot of input is Mama. Okay, Clover's mom. And so they have a really interesting thing going on in the story. I want you to read to find out. And it's I want you to think about what could be the conflict. What could be the conflict that's happening in this story? I want you to think about who are the important characters as you're reading. What do we learn about the setting? The setting's really unusual, okay? The setting is really different. So you have to read really closely to understand the setting. Who are the main characters and what do we learn? Who is the main character, one character, and what do we learn about her motivation? What does she want? And so those are the only things we're going to focus on today while we're reading, okay? So I'm going to go back through it. We are going to focus on the important characters in the story setting, the main character, one character, and what we learn about her motivation. What does she want? Okay? And I want you to really, really think about, why is there a fence? that separates these two girls. You got it. Sending you lots of energy. I'm going to start us off reading, and then you are on your own. Are you ready? The Other Side by Jacqueline Woodson. That summer, the fence that stretched through our town seemed bigger. We lived in a yellow house on one side of it. White people lived on the other. And Mama said, "Don't climb over that fence when you play." She said it wasn't safe. That summer, there was a girl who wore a pink sweater. Each morning, she climbed on the fence and stared over at our side. Sometimes I stared back. She never sat on that fence with anybody. That girl didn't. Once we were jumping rope, she asked if she could play, and my friend Sandra said no without even asking the rest of us. I don't know what I would have said. Maybe yes, maybe no. That summer, everyone and everything on the other side of that fence seemed so far away. When I asked my mama why, she said, "Because that's the way things have always been." Sometimes when me and my mama went into town, I saw that girl with her mama. She looked sad sometimes, that girl did. "Don't stare," my mama said. "It's not polite." It rained a lot that summer. On rainy days, that girl sat on the fence in a raincoat. She let herself get all wet and acted like she didn't care. Sometimes I saw her dancing around in puddles, splashing and laughing. "Mama wouldn't let me go out in the rain. That's why I bought you rainy day toys," my mama said. "You stay inside here where it's warm and safe and dry." But every time it rained, I looked for that girl, and I always found her, somewhere near the fence. Someplace in the middle of the summer, the rain stopped. When I walked outside, the grass was damp and the sun was already high up in the sky, and I stood there with my hands in the air. I felt brave that day. I felt free. I got close to the fence, and that girl asked me my name. "Clover," I said. "My name's Annie," she said. "Annie Paul. I live over yonder," she said. "By where you see the laundry, that's my blouse hanging on the line." She smiled then. She had a pretty smile. And then I smiled, and we stood there looking at each other, smiling. "It's nice up on this fence," Annie said. "You can see all over." I ran my hand along the fence. I reached up and touched the top of it. "A fence like this was made for sitting on," Annie said. She looked at me sideways. "I'm going to stop right here. I'm reading this to you so I can support you as you read through. I stopped right at paragraph 10. I want you to keep going and read the rest of the story. You got it. I'm looking for the first 100% on our exit ticket. So as long as you read it, so read it silently to yourself, read it out loud to yourself, and go back while you're doing your exit ticket. You got it, okay? I'm going to be checking. Nice job. Start your Monday off strong. Bye, guys.